Split the Eastern Sky, Chapter 1, Face Your Enemy. A Tale of the Old West. Erin Catherine Pendleton lay still, purposely covered with scrub brush and dirt, visible only to those who observed her and not the prey in her sights. Remembering her father's instructions, she breathed in a very shallow manner as she looked down the barrel of the long rifle, placing the big hairy beast squarely in the center of the rifle. Peep sight. The air had the sweet content that was only allowed after a brief summer rainstorm as the moisture of ground rose to meet her senses. Allowing the breath from her lungs and the final squeeze of the trigger to coincide, the fire stick belched a leaded projectile aimed to penetrate the heart of the soon-to-be-dead buffalo as it ate its last meal on the open Texas plain. As the mighty beast tilted forward, Isaac Pendleton delivered a second kill shot, complimenting his daughter's excellent marksmanship. As the mammoth of the plains lay motionless before them, Isaac removed his sharp knife from its sheath and proceeded to field-dress the dead animal. As his daughter watched, her excitement was matched only by the exhilaration of her father. His pride was at a zenith level as he watched his daughter dig in to help in the preparation of the meat and hide for transportation back to their frontier home. Because of their limited ability to transport and store the meat at their homestead, Isaac deftly cut out the meatiest roasts from the shoulders and buttocks, leaving the smaller cuts and ribs for the vultures. Wrapping the meat along with the heart and liver in oil paper for transport, this essential butcher cut away the furry hide for future tanning and protection against the cold nights ahead. As the father and daughter pulled their hunting litter behind them, the coal-black and piercing eyes of the observer looked on with interest, noting the quantity and quality of his subjects. He would follow and report what he had seen after he followed the hunters back to their home. "Dad, did it suffer?" Erin asked. Isaac responded with silence. After a minute of thought, she answered her own question. "No, I don't think that he did." Her quick answer surprised him as he contemplated the original question still. The makeshift carrier plowed through the soft sand, leaving a trail that a blind man could follow, and Isaac knew that trail or no trail, their pursuers would be able to follow easily. His only concern was that they reached the fortified position of their small ranch. With his head seemingly on a swivel, he watched for evidence of their enemy. Isaac was secure in the knowledge that he had a surprise in store for their unwelcome guests no matter when they chose to attack. Tracking his enemy, as they moved in the valley below, the man with the permanent scowl watched the invaders leave the carcass for the vultures flying above. His life was filled with constant battles against other native tribes and constant engagements with the Mexican Army and U.S. cavalry while living on the trail, bored to tears and eating dried meat for substance, and the only time allowed off of his horse was for a short nap on the hard ground. Attacking the soft-belly target consisting of the scattered plains settlements did not do much for the future of his people, but served as a brief respite before eventual captivity. The young brave had many reasons to have a bitter attitude. Watching the animal that was the center of the life of his people being handled in such a disrespectful way burned inside of him, and in that poisonous rage, a case could have been made for discarding the attack plan and finishing off his prey early. The others in the raiding party were oblivious to his presence, lost in their own sense of despair as they were prepared to join the rest of their nation in the newly assigned government reservations. This was a direct result of treaties signed by tribal leaders with their enemies. Before that act of final surrender happened, one last attack on the interlopers would be something to share with future generations in their captivity. If all went well, the dead animal in the valley would not be the only thing attracting vultures today. As darkness enveloped the small homestead, father and daughter completed all of the related cutting, cleaning, and packaging of their open plains harvest. The oil lamps that provided such a faint glow outside beckoned warmly on the inside of the haphazard structure that was built into the side of a small hill. Fresh buffalo stew was already close to being ready to eat, and hardtack biscuits were soon to follow, and all to be washed down with hot coffee. The Pendleton family wondered out loud as to what the poor people were doing on this night of bounty. Cleanup was an efficient operation as mother and daughter worked as a team, and within 30 minutes of eating dinner, the Pendleton women were ready for their warm bed. The sun was setting, and got cold quickly on the Texas prairie, and with the rough-hewn mattress in the back of the structure, it was designated the warmest place to be. Isaac pulled the lamp close and prepared to open the leather-bound journal that was stored above the special cabinet that held the emergency supplies. It was the routine of reading past entries in the journal that made the night bearable for this transplanted California native. Reading the observations of previous residents of this humble abode told wonderful tales of survival and accounts of sickening disaster. As Isaac transcribed his entry for the current day's activities, he wrote with pride as to how his daughter helped put precious food on the family dinner table, and how beautiful his wife looked as she tidied their limited space. Noting how good the hearty dinner tasted, and about the immediate plans for preparing the animal hide, making it a future comfort item that would serve them and later occupants for a very long time in the future. As he wrote, his concentration was broken by a knock at the door. A female voice from the back of the cabin asked if the enemy would knock before they would attack. Isaac tried to be confident in his negative answer, but was disturbed and aware that he was so rattled by the intrusion that he couldn't tell the difference between the voice of his daughter and his wife. As the door swung outward, the figure standing close so as to escape the wind hunched forward, almost falling into the arms of the startled man. The loose-fitting brown garment girded with leather belt identified him as a religious man and concealed his injured condition as he collapsed into the chair offered to him by his host. A small stream of blood dripped from the stranger's left hand as he pulled at his cloak with his right, exposing a series of cuts and gashes on his upper torso. Gulping down an offering of fresh water, the petrified man looked nervously at the closed front door. "Do you have any weapons? 'Cause you're gonna need 'em." Isaac assured him that his family was well armed, and that the stranger had nothing to fear while inside the small structure. "They are out there, and they will kill us." The friar continued, as if feeling like he would expire for not sharing it. Isaac tried his best to change the subject and asked the padre if he wanted food to eat. The Franciscan monk just spread his arms out, sat down, and started to moan in pain and embarrassment, and the Pendleton clan gathered closer and listened to the tormented man.